What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to TTP Sports. And 10 wins, 10-1 feels really nice. It really does. 10-1 Eagles squad. They get a huge victory over the Green Bay Packers. It was way too close for comfort, in my honest opinion. Jonathan Gannon's defense and Michael Clay's special teams. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. We have a lot to get in on that side of everything there. But Jalen Hurts, offensively in this game, you were spectacular. Running the ball, like over 360 yards as a team rushing. Like, what? You're rushing that much, and you're finding success through it. And honestly, on the passing side, I feel like the stats definitely don't show you the passing game because, yeah, you could definitely tell it was a little bit on the weaker side today. There definitely wasn't as much big things, big plays happening on the passing side of the ball. But Jalen Hurts made some dimes of touchdown passes in this game. The one at the end of the first half, the Quez Watkins, and the one to start the second half to A.J. Brown. So those were some really huge TD passes, some huge dimes there, especially on long drives for Jalen Hurts, to put the Eagles on top. And especially when you go up 14-0 in this game, your defensively, they let you down the entire game. Yeah, the defense had some stops here and there, but there were just so many things where it just felt like, it could have been way better. It was just very sloppy. It was borderline bad, honestly. Aaron Rodgers, with the way the Green Bay Packers have been playing this year, they honestly have not been good. I know they've been heating up a little bit, late. Watson has been heating up a little bit lately, but especially when you go later on into the game and Jordan Love comes out there and he's not missing any of his passes and you're allowing that 60-plus yard touchdown run to Watson when you're having poor coverage and poor angles on the play to, make it another 7-score game, that just can't happen. That especially when you go up, I believe it was, when you get that extra touch, you just let, Aaron Rodgers was going to be out of the game because, with the whole oblique situation, but you just let Jordan Love come into the game and do that. Why aren't we pressuring the quarterback? Why aren't we, making him think more? Just easy, quick passes and a bad read, a bad angle. It turns into, just absolute frustration. And then from special teams wise, just on kickoff returns in general for the Packers. The Packers overall, I'm going to bring up a tweet right here from Brandon Lee Gowan. The Packers overall, they have the 10th worst kick return average in the NFL of 20.8 yards. And the Eagles, they gave up 3 35-plus kick returns today. Of one of 38 yards, one of 52 yards, and one of 53 yards. That's not good. And especially when you're after scoring a play, you're going to let them come right back down the field and get that good of yardage and that good of field position. That you just can't happen. I want to know specifically, what does Michael Clay do? What does Michael Clay do to even prepare these guys on the special teams unit? Because when have we seen anything like on a punt return for the Eagles that went in a positive direction, or even something that was gigantic? Even on kick returns, it just feels like the simple couple of yard gainage, not even barely anything there on either punt returns or kick returns. And then it just sometimes it even feels like over the past couple of weeks that even though we knew the special teams unit was terrible basically going into this season, but it just feels like even more as the weeks go on, we're allowing, on kickoff returns, on punt returns, we're allowing teams to get really insane good field position because we can't make a tackle. That's basically the bottom line of that. It's what it feels like it's happening every single week. And it just defensively, too. You go up 14-0 and you let Green Bay right back into the game, basically. If you're looking at this play-by-play, you get that amazing first drive of the game, turns into a touchdown right there. Gainwell, he runs it right at the middle. A lot of running plays in this game. Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders were fantastic on the ground overall. If you look at Jalen Hurts on the rushing side tonight, he carried the ball 17 times, 157 yards total. He was flat out fantastic. Miles Sanders, he had 21 carries for 143 yards. He was fantastic. Gainwell had a few carries of 39 yards, and Boston Scott had a couple for 24 yards overall as well. So running the ball, Eagles had 363 total yards on the ground today, which is unheard of at this point. Like, I feel like that they said they broke a team record doing that. So that was huge on the first drive of the game to get that first score. First drive, first score always feels nice. But then you forced the interception. It was picked off by Josiah Scott. And then the Eagles go back down the other way. 3 plays turns into another touchdown. And I believe this one was from Miles Sanders. He runs it in for 15 yards. Becomes a 13-0 game because Jake Elliott misses the extra point. But then Green Bay goes back down the field. And a kickoff return for 38 yards. And then play after another. First down, and becoming a touchdown right there. 13-7 game. And then the Eagles, 3 and out. They tried going, a couple of quarterback sneaks here on 3rd down and 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, and they don't convert any of them. I know there was a talking about, maybe the spotting was wrong from the referees, but still, it turns over and Green Bay goes down the other way and they score another touchdown and they take the lead because, they hit the extra points. Then the Eagles, they responded right away. Jalen Hurts, gives it off to Miles Sanders once again for his 2nd touchdown tonight. 2014 game right there. And then once again, another interception, this time by Blankenship. Blankenship, where is he coming from in this? And Blankenship, he had a nice game. He had a very solid game. And also, during this game as well, you see CJ go down, injury. I think they were saying it was a rib injury or something like that. So hopefully that's something that's not going to, linger into the next few weeks or here. So hopefully it's nothing major. Hopefully he just gets this week to rest in a little bit to be prepared for next week. Just hopefully this is something for him. It's not major because he's been really good for us on that side of the ball. But Blankenship, he had himself a nice game, but he also did have that really bad angle on the Watson touchdown later on in the game when Jordan Love came in. It was a bad read, bad angle and all of that. But I think overall he had a pretty nice game. So then, like I said, you force that interception and then you try to go back down the field. Jalen Hurts, this feels like a carbon copy of the past few weeks. Gets a nice pass off to A.J. Brown. He's trying to force something in the, maybe something more, maybe than he should. And he fumbles the ball. Green Bay basically goes all the way down the field, recover it. They get in a great field position. They get a touchdown. They tie the game up after Crosby misses the extra point. They could have taken the lead, but they missed the extra point. So it's a tied ball game up. Both teams punt on their next 2 drives. And then the Eagles going down into the end of the half. Like I said, they made some great plays here. Like I said, basically running the ball the entirety of the time was basically your key to success. And then on 2nd and 10 on the Green Bay 30, Jalen Hurts threw a dime to Quez Watkins, and Quez Watkins made an unbelievable catch. An unbelievable catch. Unbelievable to end off the half. And then you go up 27-20. That was just a dime from Jalen and an unbelievable catch by Quez. Like I said, I feel like the stats for Jalen passing-wise, they really don't show you how good he was actually in his game because he was 16 out of 28 in his attempts, 153 yards total, 2 touchdowns. He got sacked twice, and he had a 96 quarterback rating. Like I said, I don't think those stats tell the entire story. He threw dimes when he needed to, and especially like that one to Quez Watkins, and he had that one basically to start the second half because the defense actually responded, and they forced Green Bay to get a 3 and out to start the second half, which was something, was very nice. And yeah, the defense in the third quarter, they showed up. They definitely showed up. They forced Green Bay to only a field goal in that third quarter, so that was nice to see. But overall, this long drive from the Eagles turns into, once again, another, great pass from Hurts to A.J. Brown. Make it 34-20 ball game there. Green Bay goes down, kicks a field goal, but the defense, they come up huge to prevent anything more from happening there. Eagles, I would say in this direction, it kind of felt like, actually, I feel like this was more later on in the game because, I'm trying to think, because I'm trying to get confused right here because it felt like, I'm trying to remember which field goal the Eagles kicked, where it kind of felt like it was, a little more, I would guess, cowardly. It felt like, why not go for it on 4th and 3, it felt like. But I think this was during more of the third quarter. Eagles went right back down the field. They kick a field goal on the Green Bay 13. Jake Elliott makes it. And so then Green Bay, this is when Jordan Love comes into the game. Aaron Rodgers has to leave because he has, the whole oblique situation, and especially when all the stuff that he was talking about playing the entire year with, like, what was it, like a broken ligament in his thumb or something like that. And even though it kind of didn't feel like that today, and there were also, speaking of injuries on the Packers side, it kind of felt like the Packers were faking injuries a little bit just to stop any type of momentum the Eagles had going for them. So that was something right there. But overall, Jordan Love comes into the game, and Jesus. Immediately 25-yard, or actually this was on the second down play, he had a 5-yard gain, and then basically 63-yard touchdown right here on 3rd and 5. It just can't happen. On the Green Bay 37, passes it over to Watson, gets the first down, but then like I said, terrible coverage here, terrible angles, and it turns into a touchdown going basically the other way. Eagles go back down the field, and I think this is kind of where it kind of felt like the field goal, it kind of felt cowardly on the 4th and 3. You were in their territory. Why not try to go for it there? But Jake Elliott, he kicks the long field goal, and there you go. He gets down there. Green Bay, Eagles stop them from getting any type of touchdown situations there, force them to a 4th down. They bring the field goal unit out. They kick a field goal. It's 40-33 there. So once again, it's a one-score game. And then you come out to, with the whole special teams unit thing, and everyone's scared. I see everything on Twitter talking about, oh my God, I got to trust the special teams unit to recover an onside kick. And thank God they did. They recovered the onside kick. And the Eagles, basically, they just got to go down the field, convert a couple of first downs. And that's exactly what they did. Basically seal the game away. But overall, defensively, it just wasn't sharp at all. Even though how great the defense was last week for keeping you in that game against Indianapolis, your offense was the major reason. Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders, overall, they were the major reasons why you won this game. The running game basically on the field. Like 363 yards total as a team. Like, that's unbelievable. That's fantastic. But defensively, you need to be way better. Way better. Like I said, I thought Blankenship had himself a nice game. There were some nice tackles all around, but it just felt like, I still feel like for the run situation wise, it still feels like they're missing Jordan Davis a little bit. Basically a guy that can stuff the run. That's something that feels like it's lacking. But also, losing CJ halfway through the game, it kind of exposed a little bit there on the safety side of everything there. Because, looking at the Green Bay side, Watson had 110 yards receiving, even though a lot of that's from that 63-yard pass in that 4th quarter. Jones had 56 yards, Lazard had 24, Dillon had 24, 20 yards there, Cobb had 19. So it just kind of felt like, a little too much there on the passing side. But you found a way to win. You found a way to get to 10-1. And that's basically the most important detail right there. But there's still a lot of things this team really needs to clean up. Jonathan Gannon, it feels like it's a soap opera every single week. It's either we love the guy or we hate the guy. And right now it's been more hate than love because, there's just certain situations where, especially like when you go up like 13-0, like you should not be allowing this team back into the game that easily, especially in the first quarter. You should not be allowing that. You should be, stuffing them, make it, feel every type of pain in the world. My God. It just feels, I just don't know how that happens. You go up 13 and then you just immediately allow them back into the game. Like, that just simply cannot happen. And special teams, they've been an issue all year. I have no idea how that's going to get fixed. Is firing Michael Clay, the solution to everything there? I would hope so, because it feels like he just does absolutely nothing for this team, especially on the special teams unit. But I don't know. But overall, there's a lot of things, I do kind of feel like they are missing Dallas Goedert on the passing game side, just because it's a guy that, you can rely on to get some, 3rd down conversions there. And he kind of feels like he's the glue that keeps everything together there on the offensive side as well. But Jalen Hurts overall was fantastic today because, sometimes if A.J. Brown the last few weeks, it just feels like the ball security overall just doesn't feel there right now. It just feels completely, I'm not sure if I want to say lackadaisical, lazy. It just feels like the ball security just isn't there. Like the past 3 weeks, especially with the Quez Watkins when he had that fumble against Washington. You had the A.J. Brown fumble last week. It just feels ball security over the past few weeks have been brutal. And I think there's a stat that talked about the turnovers the past few weeks. I'm trying to see everything here on the turnovers the past couple of weeks. So where is that at? If I can find. Oh, here we go. Eagles have 7 turnovers over the last 9.5 quarters. That's more than double the turnovers in the previous 8 games combined. They had 3 turnovers in their first 8, and they had 7 turnovers in their last 9.5 quarters. So that's not good. That basically shows you how poor the ball security has been. So that's got to be cleaned up. You know, a little bit Butterfingers right here. Can't be happening every single week. You were really good with the ball security in the first, half of the season. It's become a little sloppy here. And kind of brutal. Like, A.J. Brown can't keep having these big fumbles. It just feels like it's something where he's trying to do way too much. That's got to be cleaned up. But with those, deficiencies aside, you're still finding ways to win. And I think that's the major key. You're finding ways to win. Good teams find ways to win. And I think that's the most important thing to think of there. But still, when I think about everything here, when I'm looking at this game and they keep showing the standings, I'm thinking to myself, in what fucking universe is the NFC East controlling all the playoff spots? You got the Eagles, first place in the NFC, and you got every NFC East team holding a wild card spot. Dallas, New York, and Washington. In what world is that even possible? Does that just basically describe how bad the NFL basically overall as a product has been this year? Because honestly, I want to look at the standings just overall to describe everything. Because if we look at the NFC East, every single team is above 500. The NFC East is probably the best division in football right now, and that's surprising. Over the past so many years, how many years has the NFC East been terrible? The NFC East is the best division in football this year, and that's the surprising thing. If you look at the NFC North, it's basically just the Vikings. They're 9-2, and then the rest of the division is shit. Detroit is 4-7, and Green Bay's 4-8. Chicago's 3-9. The NFC South is terrible. Every team in that division is below 500. Tampa Bay is 5-6. Atlanta's 5-7. Carolina's 4-8, and New Orleans is 4-8. NFC West, that's basically run by San Francisco. Seattle, I feel like they're a product of, Arizona not being good and the Rams just being outright dreadful. That's basically it there. Seattle, they're frauds. They're a team that was expected to tank coming into this year, and they're finding ways to win. So, and that's bottom line there. If you look at the AFC East, they got the Dolphins and the Bills. The Jets, they're a 7-4 team, but do they feel like a 7-4 team? Zach Wilson, their quarterback, and all that stuff, it doesn't feel right. I know they went to a different quarterback, White, I believe, last game, but I don't know if that's sustainable. I know the Patriots are 6-5, but basically it's Miami and Buffalo that run that division. If you look at the AFC North, Baltimore and Cincinnati, they're both 7-4. Cleveland's 4-7. Pittsburgh's 3-7. I think Pittsburgh plays tomorrow against Indianapolis, so that's the Monday night game. But Cleveland, they're still waiting for Deshaun Watson to come back, and who knows? He's not going to save their season. The AFC South, it's basically run by the Titans. The rest of the teams are under 500. AFC West, run by the Chiefs. They're 9-2. Then you got the Chargers, who are 6-5, but they've basically been an up-and-down team the entire goddamn season. But really, if you look at the AFC, the best team overall is the Chiefs. Then I guess you would say Miami and Buffalo. If you look at the NFC, you got the Eagles, you got the Vikings, you got the 49ers, who are definitely a much better team than they were to start the year, especially, defensively. The 49ers are kind of a scary team, I'm not going to lie. But the Cowboys, they're 8-3. The Giants, maybe they're coming back down to earth, but the Commanders, they're finding ways to win now, which is weird. It's just weird seeing every single team in the NFC East in a playoff spot. I just find that insanely weird. I just do. I never thought I would see the day. Never thought I would see the day of light where every single team in the NFC East is in a playoff spot. Would never thought I'd see that day. Would never thought that in my entire life. It's weird. Definitely is. And before we get into more of this stuff, we do have a voicemail here on the Anytime Hotline. You can leave a text or a voicemail at 215-839-9885. Leave your thoughts and opinions on any game. And if you do want to leave that, make sure to leave your name just so I could save that for future use. Say if another stream happens, and I can say, oh, here's so-and-so, whatever, what they want to say about the game. So it's basically your preference. I'm giving you options. You can also utilize the YouTube live feed. It's basically just your preference at this point. I'm just giving you options. So does not matter to me whatsoever, but it's up to you at the end of the day. So we're going to listen to another call here from Sean Fitzpatrick, what he has to say about this game. Sean is kind of being a frequent caller here on each Eagles recap, which is very nice to see. So let's hear what Sean has to say.
Now, is it me, Amadeo, or are these Eagle games taking on a certain pattern? They come out, they get off to a good start, you think it's going to be a rout, and then the Jonathan Gannon effect takes shape. I'm glad they won the game. I hope that the Gardner-Johnson injury isn't as bad as it looked. But you can't be too happy with the defense tonight. Giving up 33, letting a backup quarterback come in and just play pitch and catch. And, I've never been a Jonathan Gannon fan, per se, but I've kind of defended him. But let me just say this. Both he and Michael Clay need to go tonight. Not only is the defense atrocious, special teams is just as bad, if not worse. And this shit is going to cost this team in the postseason. Mark my words. They're winning games in spite of Gannon and in spite of Michael Clay.
Yeah, you bring up important points there. Like sometimes when you're, especially when you're going up against a team in the playoffs, like when you're allowing those kickoff returns of 30 plus yards, like when you're looking at tonight's game, like 38 yarder, 52, 58 yards, that's going to come back to haunt you. When you're playing better quality teams, and even though I know the overall product this year in the NFL has not been good, you're still going to be going up against better opponents in the playoffs. Like say if you go up against a team like Minnesota, I know you destroyed Minnesota earlier in the year, but Minnesota's still a good team. If you allow that many type of kickoff returns and special team stuff to Minnesota, it's going to bite you in the ass. Or even if you go up against a team like Dallas, and that might come back to bite you in the ass. Or say if you get you get to the NFC Championship game or the divisional game or even that. Say if you get to the Super Bowl and your special teams cost you against a team like the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, that's something that's really got to get fixed. And I know Gannon's had his games where he's been really good. The defense has gone through his stretches where it's really good. But he has these huge stinkers way too often. And that's something that's got to be fixed. I don't know how you fix it. It's just, it just kind of feels like when you go up by these wide margins that he gets way too complacent. It's like, oh, we're up by this wide score. We could be, a little laid back, a little loose. We don't have to go into these huge coverages or anything like that. We don't have to blitz the quarterback. We don't have to apply pressure or anything. Put them out of the game. Just make them miserable. Don't give them any life. That's something right there. Just consistency is what we're asking for. Be better. That's the bottom line. Be better. And I don't know how you make these special teams better. Yeah, Michael Clay, firing him and you're automatically better. But, can we get something positive, on a kickoff return or a punt return or anything like that? When was the last time the Eagles scored a touchdown on a kickoff return or a punt return? When was the last time they did that? It feels like it's been eons. Eons, I tell you. When was the last time they even had a 50-plus yard run? Feels like eons. In the days when Jalen Reagor was your punt returner? Seriously, when was the last time the Eagles had a punt return touchdown? I want to know that. I specifically want to know that. Because it feels like it's been an eon since they've done that. Oh, my God. Holy hell. I think I saw something here that says... I remember this. I just forgot to mention. Here we go. Jalen Hurts is the now holds the most single rushing yards ever. Or actually, I might rephrase that. He now is the Eagles, I guess, leader in most rushing yards in a game by a quarterback. So, Jalen Hurts making some history every single week that he's out there and continuing to further explain why he should be, in conversation for MVP. Honestly, I would say he should be the favorite for the MVP. I know it's going to be between him and Patrick Mahomes at this point. Actually, let me look at the MVP odds at this point. See where they stand. Let's see, NFL MVP odds right now, because I know they're probably constantly updating. So right now, the favorites. Who's the favorite right now? Oh wow, we got Patrick Mahomes is the favorite, which is obvious. So right now, the top four are Patrick Mahomes, Tua, Hurts, and Josh Allen. I think Josh has fallen a little bit over the past couple of games, but Hurts, I think his stock should go up after tonight. Tua, it's understandable because, with everything, when he went down with that concussion situation, they started losing games. But basically a lot of games that he plays in, he's been really good. And they've been winning games when he's, under center. So that makes sense why he would be in the conversation for MVP. And he's been really good this year. So it's definitely going to be, definitely a big race for that MVP thing. But I would think Jalen Hurts definitely deserves a lot of votes there on that side. But overall, yeah. You found a way to win. Most important thing. Your offense was great. Jonathan Gannon, Michael Clay. It's got to be fixed. It's got to be fixed badly. It's got to be fixed badly, man. Because I know Gannon had, the defense had a great showing last week. They have their great showings. They definitely do. But it just feels like they just have stinkers. And stinkers against teams probably that shouldn't be happening against. It just shouldn't happen. Now, if we look at the rest of their schedule before we end off this video, I know they play the Titans next week on Sunday. So if we look at the rest of the Eagles' schedule after tonight, they got 6 more games left. They got next Sunday against the Tennessee Titans at home. That is a 1 o'clock game. Then they got December 11th in New York against the Giants. So they'll have 3 straight road games after next week's game against Tennessee. In the Giants against the 11th. In Chicago on the 18th against the Bears. And then on Christmas Eve against the Dallas Cowboys. Got 1 o'clock, and a 4:25 game there. And then they'll have 2 home games to close out the year. January 1st, New Year's Day against the Saints at 1 o'clock. And then the final game of the year will be against the New York Giants on January 8th. That game time is to be determined. Most likely, I would expect that to become a Sunday Night Football game if that game has any implications for the Giants, because I would assume at that point the Eagles will already have clinched in a playoff spot. Just in my opinion, I think that's what's going to happen at that point. Looking at next week for Tennessee. So let's look at the Titans. Where are they at overall? Go back to ESPN and see how, they have been looking. The Titans scare me for one reason, and I think that's overall just it's the run game, especially with Derrick Henry under that point. But looking at Tennessee in their past so many games, so going back to they started off the year 0-2, but then basically since then they won 5 in a row. They lost to Kansas City. They beat Denver. They beat Green Bay. They just lost to Cincinnati today. It's in a close game. But overall, I would say majority, like Tannehill doesn't scare me whatsoever. But it's mainly the run game, I think. That's most, I would say, scary. And I know Tennessee has a really good defense as well. So that's definitely going to be a tough game for the offense. And the defense is really going to have to step up. Like I said, it really does scare me without Jordan Davis, stuffing the run. And I know Derrick Henry's a really tough guy to stop. But that game next week just kind of scares me for that type of predicament. But I do believe they'll show up and everything like that. I'm not worried about everything there. Just, I have my lingering concerns about next week against Tennessee. But, yeah. Still confident. Nowhere near to lose confidence in this team. I don't even know why I'm saying that, something like that. But overall, solid game. Solid game overall. Jalen Hurts was great. Miles Sanders was great. And you're 10-1. That's the most important thing. So, that's going to do it for today's video, everyone. Do not forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. I like to see those as always. Do not forget to drop a like on the video. Do not forget to check out everything in the description down below, Painted Lines and BrodesMedia. I recommend all of that. Same thing with hitting the subscribe button. It goes me a great deal. I definitely recommend you hitting that. Goes a very long way. Also, use the code TTPSPORTS, $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. Use it for anything you can think of, any upcoming Eagles games, Sixers games, or concerts, events, whatever you can think of. Great deal. Don't pass that up. Thank you once again, everyone, for joining tonight's stream, and I will see you next time.